oil refinery oil for eating oil, like sunflower seed oil refinery. So they're well-to-do, um, and so, but yet when I was born, nobody says nothing about my past. I barely knew any details, and no one would dare say nothing about what they were because we're the enemies of the state because we were capitalists. We own something. Anybody who owns something is a threat. So they took everything. They took everything. Just don't allow a house. Only allow a house to have, And so I grew up in that situation. Don't know what's going on, and I'm supposed to do whatever the comments say. So okay, So I grew up in that and hush hush kind of situation, and then I rebel when I became in my teens. I rebel. My way of rebelling against this whole system was to do rock and roll. So me and three boys started the first rock band, and we were not even any good, but at the time there was no other to compare, so we were and they put us on national television. There's only one channel. It's overnight with the #1 band. There is no #2, but that's it. Top 10, silver bracelet. That's the name of the band, So we wore these things, so that's what they call a silver bracelet. So eventually we got better, and we began to be popular, and a lot of kids would come to concerts. And it was not a good sight for the communists to look at. Young people got together clapping their hands. That's one step away from revolution as far as they're concerned. Too much freedom. So they try to implement laws like do not clap during the song, only after. Like a classical concert, you just listen, and when the thing is over, then you clap, and then stop, listen, But once we start kicking, I got arrested once because I was clapping myself, so they just had to prove the rule. But eventually I realized that doesn't work. That is not going to work, so they shut us down. Officially, we couldn't legally perform. We did underground concerts here and there, but eventually it was realized you can't go. So I managed to escape the Iron Curtain. It was a dangerous thing, crazy thing, nearly suicidal, because so many people get killed at those Iron Curtain passages that not funny. But I was fed up with it, and me and this guitar player, we escaped. It was amazing, miraculous thing how we escaped unharmed, and we made it to the West, and eventually made it to the United States. And within a year, roaming around the States, I met Christians in California and LA area, witnessed to me in 2 months. It just, whatever they were saying, whatever they were, I don't know, it got me. And I know I don't believe in nothing, but I decided to just give it one chance, So I went on top of the mountain alone and asked, basically, I was doing something in my own mind, stupid, but because I know there's no God, I was brainwashed to believe that there's absolutely no God. But I said, is there God? I mean, God, I actually said, do you exist? That was my thought. Came in as I said it, fully knowing that there isn't, but I said it just to get it over with, to prove that there isn't, of course. And I go back down, go to Hollywood, and get my career as a rock and roll musician here in America. So I went on top of the mountain to say something I knew was totally stupid, but I said it. But the moment I said it, something began to happen. Something changed in the atmosphere, even audio. Somehow, not visual, couldn't see nothing, but I feel something around me, kind of like someone you get close to me. And I began to talk to whatever that is that is listening. As somebody's listening, I could feel it. So I kept talking, got thicker and thicker eventually, like lightnings. The belief that there is a God just hit me. I mean, it's like, I don't even know how to explain, other than faith is, without faith it's possible, of course, but somehow it hit me there, the faith that there is, there is a God, it hit me. And for years I went along saying my testimony, unexplained. I could not explain how this faith starts. Because when you don't have it, you out of luck. That's it, you can't. And without faith, you can't do nothing. And if you don't have it, you happen not to have any faith, you have a chance. But later, years later, I was introduced to the grace of God. Believe it or not, my first 10 years of discipleship did not teach me on faith or grace, which ironically is the two things we get saved by. You know, we get saved by grace through faith, but somehow the discipleship, my schools and my circles didn't elaborate on that at all. In fact, grace was not a dirty word, but not a good word. You know, grace is like a greasy grace with what we were here. So don't elaborate on grace, because it's like people who talk about grace, they're not very good Christians. They're like finding excuse to sin or to be liberal and still make it to heaven kind of thing. So that was the presentation of grace in my mind. So let's stay away from that word and let's just talk about something else. Mike, you can move around if you like. Also, you can put the stand and it'll be a little easier. So, anyways, you're doing good. So anyways, years later, after I don't know nothing about grace, really nothing much about faith itself. How do you believe? What is it? You know, that mechanism was very strange to me. I just believed, and I was happy that I believed, and after that first day of experience, actually, once the faith that there is a God hit me, I fell in the dirt, but no catchers to catch me. I was just boom, I hit the dirt in my back. I started shaking violently for the entire day. The discovery, I kept screaming, crying, and it mixed emotions. I was glad, you know, that I now believe that there is, but what is God? I don't know. Who are you? So I'm talking to this invisible God, and I'm just like, oh, you know. So there was a whole day of unbelievable emotions, just every gamut of emotions I went through. And it got dark, and I went downstairs, down to the village where the people that led me to the Lord, or that talked to me, witnessed to me, were actually there. They were so glad to see me. You could tell that I believe now, because I was like, you know, you know, yeah. You can tell, right? Faith, you can see when somebody has faith. And so they welcomed me, and they were so happy, all funny, because in 2 months they were trying everything. I mean, nothing worked. Food always kept me going. They kept feeding me night dinners, you know, like free dinners. So I kept going for that free dinner, and so I kept going with that. And food was really God used food. Yeah, move around. You don't have to be stuck. You can get up. You can just feel free, man. Nobody's looking at you. The camera's looking at me, actually. Oh yeah, look at him. He's a camera guy.